Hi, in this video what I'm going to do is try and explain wet and wet skies, okay? Or wet on wet painting. Here's wet and wet painting, and it's basically when what we're doing is mixing the watercolour on the paper as well as pre-mixing. There's other videos about pre-mixing on this channel, so take a look at those. Okay, but what we're going to do is understand the physics of it. It's very, very complicated. Really tremendously, amazingly complicated, but I'm going to try and break it down into something very simple. So what we're actually doing when we're doing this is we're taking the sediment. This is just sediment, let's not call it paint, we'll just call it sediment. Different coloured sediment, we're mixing them with different amounts of water, we're mixing them together in different quantities, so a yellow and a red will make an orange, yellow and a blue will make a green, and we're spreading them out on paper in such a way that all these tiny little grains of sediment in here are mixing in such a way that they create a two-dimensional illusion, which your brain will then transpose into looking real or semi-real. And the brain here is the key, because I can try and explain, the basic physics of it, roughly how to do it, but your brain, when you're trying to do this, it's going to make some amazing calculations that you don't even know about. I mean, liken it to, I love an analogy, so let's say we've got someone making a tennis shot. So there's, what's his name, Andy Murray, gets a ball across court and he's running to hit it, and he's calculating all these angles, incredible angles, about the speed of the ball, the pace on the racket, his racket angle, everything, to hit it back to probably something within a square foot, right? Now that is unbelievable what he's doing. But he's doing it through intuition and he's doing it through practice. And that is what you've got to do when you're doing this. This is like serving an ace, alright? Very, very complicated. But I'm going to probably try and show you how it's done. So when we're doing this wet and wet painting, the key, the most basic calculation is the load of water to paint. So the tone of the paint is crucial. Unlike in dry on dry painting, when we're simply adding a dry wash onto the paper, you can predict what that will look like. So you might have seen this before. So when I'm painting these colours, they're mixed up in these wine glasses here. I know the tone, I can predict it, I can do that again and again and again because the water amount is set. What we're doing with wet and wet painting is there's no set amount of water. We're changing the amount of water, so we're diluting it in various ways all the time. And what you'll see is it will actually, as time goes on, and time is the other variable which is really crucial with watercolour painting, is the paint will dry, the water will dry on the paper. Every 30 seconds you'll be looking at calculating a different equation. Again, this is something which can be achieved through practice. Okay, enough talking, well, let's have a look at a little bit of painting. Okay, so here I am. You can see this clock here that says 1 minute 40 seconds. I've got my blank piece of paper here divided into 3, and 1 minute 44 seconds ago I put a wash of pure colour, pure transparency, water I should say, down there. Now I'm going to do the same now a minute later on the middle one. Just pure water laid top to bottom. Now in the initial introduction I was talking about paint density and moving this paint around, moving the particles of the sediment around with water, and that's all we're doing. So here I just want to take a quick look at the effect of water and time on this. So there's the second one on. So let's take some paint. Let's take the yellow. Have a look. So 2 minutes 40 seconds. Let's put some yellow into here and see what happens. Now, because I work top to bottom, the top of the paper is going to be dry. There's going to be less water up here than down here. Okay, this is dry enough so that I can write my initial mat M there. Okay, this one's going to be a lot wetter So I put yellow in here, it's running, you can already see it's running much quicker. If I try to write my initial, what you'll see is that will actually drip down. If I take some more water, put it straight on here, I'll have a look what happens now. Try to write something and you can actually see that dribbling. You can see it moving. I've got less control of the paint, the wetter the paper is, and the paint's moving much more. So we add light to dark. If I was to add some blue in here now, let's have a look. Put some blue on this one. Now the blue is going to mix with the yellow and it's going to basically create a green tone. What I can do here is take these pins out. I'm just going to tip it up slightly. So we can change the angle that the water is running at. And you can see we've got a different effect here. So we're on 4 minutes 40 since the first one here, since I put the paint on. Okay, let's just try and put a purple on now. So I've added more into this. This is a darker colour, the darkest colour. Okay, let's put that on. Let's see what happens if I try and draw a line down here as some sort of horizon. Okay, I can reasonably get something going there. Let's try it going the other way. See how it's wetter and the paint is actually being attracted into the water, so it's moving up. Now sometimes when I'm painting wet and wet, that's what I want. I'm actually wanting this effect. Let's put some in the sky up here. Let's try some further down, see what happens. Let's do the same here. Now it's drier at the top. Let's try a horizon there. So lots of different effects going on here. So I've dried these up and now dry on dry, okay, so I'm using the same purple that I use in the wet, but I'm using it dry. I'm just going to put a really simple horizon line on each of these paintings. And I'm able to put the same paint here on here, and it's going to look darker because there's no water on this paper anymore, okay? This is dry. So this colour is going to be darker than this colour because when I put this colour on here I was mixing it with water already on the paper, okay? So the sediment was less dense than it is here. So if I put this on here, it will go on very easily, I would hope. Okay. Do the same here, or something slightly different. A little tree. Just put a nice big sort of mountain up there. Okay, so here's our 3 different paintings, okay? There's loads of things to talk about here. This was the the one which was driest. You can see how this, if you compare that sky there to this one to that one, you can see how the paint's blended so much more here because there's more water on. It was the same tone paint was applied to the paper with no delay between the water, whereas here it was what, 2 minutes 40 seconds. Okay, so this purple on all of these pictures is the same, and this one, it's lighter than it is in this. Why is it lighter? It's lighter because in this painting here there's less water on the paper. Okay, what else is happening? Contrast. I mean, I may as well have a quick talk about contrast here, because here we are. Look at that. And then look at that. And tell me which is brighter. The yellow in the foreground, okay, let's call it a little lake or something, looks brighter than the sky because of the surrounding purple. This is just another thing watercolour is about. It's about contrast. It's all about contrast. Tone is everything, colour is nothing. Colour is bonus. Okay? Here's another example of contrast. Look at that tiny little bit of yellow there. Let's have a look, see. That is darker than that yellow. That's the lightest point in the picture there. That yellow is so much darker. Look how bright it looks. It looks like someone's got a light on. Just another trick with watercolour. It's all about what you put around a colour. And interestingly here too, let's have a look. This line here, can you see that line there going through that wash? That's just where on the previous wet on wet layer the yellow condensed a bit down here. It's a really useful trick when you're actually trying to do that on purpose. It's great, but that's much more advanced. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Hope it made some sort of sense. It's just about moving sediment around. I'll do more sort of complicated wet and wet stuff in further videos, but like I was saying at the beginning of this video, all we're trying to do here is move sediment around in paint, in water. It starts in the tubes, goes into a mixing tray, a wine glass, or even mix on a white palette like this, and then you're mixing it again with the waters. So there's lots of variables. Time is a variable, the amount of water is a variable, the strength of your paint is a variable. These are things that all combine, but only practice is going to make you do it, and you've got to work it out for yourself. You know, it's like kicking a football or a tennis ball, like I said before. You know, you mightn't be able to volley one in from 30 yards, but let's just get you kicking one in a straight line to start with. Let your brain work it out. It'll do it intuitively and naturally because you're not stupid. Okay?